I kept the receipts in a folder labeled commencement. Flights, hotel blocks, shuttle service, dinner reservations for after the ceremony. It came to just under $12,000, which felt excessive and still somehow necessary. My family had always treated milestones like optional events, but I told myself this one would be different. Medical school sounded serious enough, honorable. They said they were proud. They said they wouldn't miss it. I didn't notice the cracks until later, when I replayed things with the benefit of distance. My aunt joking that I'd be insufferable with a stethoscope, my cousin asking if I'd settle for real doctor money someday, my mom smiling too quickly when people congratulated her. None of it felt explosive, just small erosions. The morning of graduation, I stood in my gown in the hotel bathroom, adjusting the hood that represented years of training. I checked my phone out of habit. No new messages. The ceremony started in 40 minutes. I told myself they were probably running late. When I arrived at the venue, the VIP seating section, reserved, labeled, paid for, was empty. I sat with my classmates, scanning the crowd anyway, doing that thing where logic argues with hope. Halfway through the dean's address, my phone buzzed. A text from my cousin. LOL, we ended up taking a cruise instead. Then another from my auntie. Watching you pretend to be a doctor sounds painful. We'd rather be somewhere worth celebrating. I didn't respond. I turned my phone face down on my lap and listened as names were called. When mine came, I walked across the stage, shook a hand, accepted the diploma cover, and smiled, because that's what you do when you've finished something this hard. The applause sounded normal. That was the strange part. The world didn't tilt, nothing collapsed. After the ceremony, I took the photos I'd planned to take with them anyway. The empty chairs, the reserved signs with last names printed neatly across the backs. I didn't feel dramatic doing it. It felt like documentation. Back at the hotel, I changed out of my gown and packed. I canceled the dinner reservation, I printed copies of my degree confirmation and slid them into envelopes along with the photos. I mailed them from the lobby, addressed carefully, without notes. By the time I got home, my phone had started to fill up. Missed calls from my mom, then voicemails. Her first one was confused. The second was irritated. The third, 3 hours later, was different. She was crying hard enough that it took her a moment to speak. She said she didn't understand how things had gone so wrong. She said family should celebrate together. She said she wished I'd called before doing something irreversible. I listened once. I didn't save it because earlier that afternoon, before the voicemail started, I'd already done something else. I'd forwarded my graduation confirmation and board eligibility paperwork to the hospital where I'd matched for residency, along with a signed lease for an apartment 10 minutes from the campus. I'd accepted a welcome call from my program director, who congratulated me without irony or qualifiers. He didn't ask who had been in the audience. He didn't joke about pretending. That evening, I sat on the floor of my empty living room, eating takeout from the container, scrolling through congratulators from people who knew exactly what this milestone meant. Professors, colleagues, mentors, who had watched me struggle and still signed their names to letters recommending me for more responsibility, not less. My family texted again the next day, softer this time, suggesting we'd all overreacted, asking when I'd be free to talk. I didn't block anyone, I just didn't rush. A week later, the photos arrived back in my mailbox, unopened. My aunt had written "Return to Sender" across the front in red ink. I laughed once out loud, not because it was funny, because it was so consistent. I still talk to my mom carefully on topics that don't require translation. She hasn't apologized for the texts. She's apologized for how they came across. I didn't correct her. I hang my degree in my office now, framed simply. Patients don't comment on it much. They care more about whether I listen, whether I explain things clearly, whether I show up. Sometimes when I think about that day, I feel a quiet ache. Not for the money, though, not even for the absence, for the version of myself who believed that achievement could finally earn tenderness. But that version didn't disappear. It just grew up. I celebrated anyway. Not loudly, not together. And for the first time, that felt like enough.